Trent Harvey, I got that work, now rock out.
There's a reason that I'm wearing Candace Parker's jersey, but we will get into that a little bit later in the episode. Welcome home with Lady Blue Flames. We are in week 6 recap of the WNBA, and then we will get into all the games that have the women's professional leagues in them and playable as those players and as the teams, and discuss all the modes and the games for the women's leagues, basketball, soccer, hockey, some of the major ones that I know of. And as more games come to light, then we can kind of add them to the list and then add them to an additional attachment to the video. But we're going to start with our WNBA recap. This past week on Tuesday, earlier this week on Tuesday, we had a lot of games. New York beat Atlanta, Washington beat Chicago, Dallas beat Golden State, Minnesota beat the Aces, and Seattle beat the LA Sparks. And the LA Sparks are without Kelsey Plum, so they definitely looked to struggle a bit without Kelsey Plum playing the point. So we'll see how that works out for them, if they pick anybody else up or how they maneuver their lineup. As well, Minnesota, Nafisa went out. They didn't say how long she's going to be out, but she did go out in that game. And Asia Wilson did not play in that game for the Aces. She has yet to make her return for the Aces, so we'll see if she returns this weekend. The one major game, of course, was the Indiana-Connecticut game for lots of reasons. But here on this episode, I will not go into detail of what happened. But Indiana did end up beating Connecticut. And then on Wednesday, Phoenix beat Connecticut. And on Thursday, Phoenix beat New York. And then Golden State beat Indiana. And this just kind of goes with what I was saying in the last episode, that there's a lot of kind of back and forth within one team. Like they'll win a really good game, then lose a game, win like 2, lose 2. And so some teams is still kind of tough to kind of see where they're going to end up as the season goes on, because they've kind of been going back and forth. But we'll see how that plays out. But I'm pretty sure nobody expected Golden State to beat Indiana. But Golden State has been putting up a fight against every team. They're the new team in the league, but they have been putting up a fight against every single team. And then their fan base shows up. Like when they play at Golden State, there are fans there. Those fans are loud, and they want Golden State to win. So they're definitely building quite a bit of a culture over there, which is exciting for them. It's exciting for the league. And it just hopefully sets up a good precedence for the 2 teams that'll be coming in next season. So it was weird because it's kind of a relatively short week, but that's because most of the games were on Tuesday. Now, upcoming tonight, we got Washington at Atlanta, Dallas at Connecticut, Seattle at Las Vegas, and then on Saturday, Phoenix at Chicago, Sparks at Minnesota. And then on Sunday, we got Chicago at Atlanta, Dallas at Washington, Indiana at Las Vegas, New York at Seattle, Connecticut at Golden State. So Sunday we got a full slate as well. So Sunday is definitely a good day. Good day if you just want to chill and watch a couple games. Sunday is the day to do it. There's a lot of games on Sunday. All right. Let's also they announce where the All-Star voting is as of right now. And I will just go through the top 10. So top 10 in All-Star voting right now. Caitlin Clark at the number 1. Nafisa Collier at number 2. Aaliyah Boston at number 3. Asia Wilson at 4. Breonna Stewart at 5. Paige Beckers at 6. Kelsey Mitchell at 7. Sabrina Ionescu at 8. Lexi Hall at 9. And Kiki Irvin at 10. So that's the top 2 in all WNBA All-Star voting right now. Top 10. Now, some of those aren't a surprise. Some of them are. But it is, fans are going to vote for their favorite player or just a bunch of people on their favorite team. It's always kind of, the top spots are always kind of iffy sometimes because fans are going to vote for who they want to regardless of stats and wins and losses, all that stuff, which at some point that's okay, but at the same time it gets a little weird. Because let me see, Alicia Gray is all the way down in the 14th spot and she has been hooping. Like, that's crazy that she's down there. Ryan Howard is all the way down there. Brittany Sykes is at 28. She's been hooping. So it's definitely, it's going to be interesting to see what it actually comes down to. But voting is still going on, so definitely go to the WNBA site, or if you got the app on your phone, you can vote from your phone. I'm pretty sure you can vote from whatever email once a day. So of course, if people got multiple email accounts, they can get a lot of votes in. There's always a way around the system, unfortunately. So, but that is, let's see, we'll look at the standings, and then that will be the update for this week. All right, after 6 weeks, actually no, we are in week 5. Minnesota still holds that number 1 spot at 11-1. New York at the number 2 at 10-2. Phoenix at 3 at 10-4. Atlanta in the 4th spot at 8-4. Seattle in the 5th spot 7-5. Golden State in the 6th spot 6-6. Indiana in the 7th spot 6-6. Aces in the 8th spot 5-6. Washington in the 9th spot 5-7. LA Sparks in the 10th spot 4-9. Chicago in the 11th spot 3-8. Connecticut in the 12th spot 2-10. Dallas in the 13th spot at 2-11. So that is the standings after 5 weeks. Let's see. The top half really isn't a surprise, and I feel like the bottom half is going to keep switching 1 or 2 spots because everybody's record is so close that 1 win or 1 loss, you move up or you move down. So that bottom half of the standings is definitely going to be the most interesting as the season moves forward. But that is the WNBA Week 5 update, and that is where the All-Star voting stands as of right now. Voting is still going on, so you can go to the site or you can go to the WNBA app on your phone and vote daily. And we're going to see who ends up in there. It's going to be in Indiana. So I fully expect there's going to be at least 2 or 3 Indiana players. So that's my expectation. Is generally wherever it is, usually that team, the fans vote in a couple people to make the All-Star team. So I fully expect there to be at least 2 or 3 Indiana players. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it unfolds and who actually wins the total votes overall. But that is week 5 of the W in a nutshell. So, women's professional leagues and video games has been on the rise over the last 4 or 5 years. The newest, obviously, would be hockey because it is the newest women's league. So we're going to start with them. And I'm just going to show you one of my videos when I decided to try the game and try hockey and just show you guys kind of what it looks like. But this is the Women's Hockey League in NHL 25. And this was kind of how I've been like trying to learn players and see how the game plays and see how the game feels. And in the hockey game, you can play a season with any team and you're to be playing against the AI. But as you can see, it looks pretty good. The replays of the goals are crazy amazing. Like, the angles of the replays are so good when you score a goal. And I played my first season with Montreal, but you can play with any team in the league. And then hopefully in the next NHL game, they'll have the new additional teams as well. They update the rosters. And so it was actually a pretty fun experience playing with the women's teams in NHL. I had not played NHL before this, but I told my community that if a video game added the women's leagues, I was going to play it and try it and let them see it and talk about it. And so as soon as I found out that they put the women's league in the hockey game, I got the game, hopped on, and played some seasons. It was a lot of fun. The game feels pretty good. And, of course, my opinion on hockey and how it plays is very small compared to people who probably played the hockey game every year. So I can't give you, like, any specifics on gameplay. It's just, as a beginner, I had fun. So I look at the fun factor in players kind of being true to their skill set. And for the most part, it seemed like when I was playing with certain players, like, they played to their skill set and their strengths. And when you were playing with them, if you were trying to do things that weren't really in their repertoire, it felt off, if that makes sense. So them being the NHL 25 was actually a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing if they update the mode, add anything to the mode, because there's no career path or story or anything. You can just literally play a season with a team and you just play against the AI. But that is the NHL game. Let's see, I'm trying to fast forward a little bit. But I was having a blast playing with them and playing against all the teams, and all their uniforms are actually in there, all their arenas. Like, it was a lot of fun to play this hockey game and play with the women's teams. And the animations and the celebrations, and like I said, the replays of the goals from like 2 or 3 different angles is amazing. Like, I love that part of the game, seeing the goal from like 2 or 3 different angles, because some angles look even more crazy than others. So it's definitely cool that the game does that after you score a goal. I was definitely having fun playing with Montreal. I'm probably gonna do a season with the New York team next and see how the players maneuver. I'm gonna hop on it too and see if there are any updates, considering some players signed with new teams. It's the off season, and kind of see how that's changed in the game, if it's changed the rosters or anything like that, and kind of pay attention to how frequently the NHL updates the rosters in this mode, with like player transactions and different things like that. So we'll definitely keep a close eye on it. But that is the Women's Hockey League in NHL 25. And like I said, I had a blast. Having never played a hockey game before, I had fun. Alright. That is hockey. So now we're going to move into soccer. NWSL. Now, the first FIFA that the women's teams ended up in is FIFA 23, I believe. That's the first one I was able to play as like the Washington Spirit and play a season. And so FIFA 23, they had the shared cover. So they had a female player and a male player on the cover. To my knowledge, they haven't had a cover that's only a women's player. So they've had multiple shared covers. And I will pull up some of the other covers after we watched the highlights. But FIFA, their presentation is really good too. Like, I tried to let everything play through. So, like, the introductions, the warm-up, the lineup, and just how they overall present the game. And so this gives you a pretty good idea. Like, look at that. That's dope. A full picture of a player in, like, the net. And I think the first FIFA that had a women's player on it was actually FIFA 16. But I don't think you could play with the teams in FIFA 16. But they did have a women's player on the cover with one of the top men's player. And I'll show you some pictures of those a little bit later as well. But just like in hockey and FIFA, you can do a whole season with a team. And then you can do things against the AI, and you can play one-on-one against another opponent. So I can invite somebody, or they can invite me, and we can go head to head. But there was no like career and like story of like getting into the league and making a name for yourself. So there was none of that when I was playing it in the FIFA. I have to get a more recent update for FIFA 25, which I think is still pretty similar. I don't think there's a story yet, but you can have a full season and you can play against another person, kind of like a head-to-head matchup. And so the hockey and the soccer definitely don't have, their mode is not as elaborate as the W mode in 2K, which we'll get to next. But the presentation for hockey and soccer were definitely fantastic. And not being someone who is known to play the hockey game or even FIFA, like, I still was able to hop on, learn some things, and have a good time, and play with the players that I've seen playing on TV and see how it feels. And that was the other thing I noticed in FIFA 2 is you can definitely feel the difference in like the speed of the players. So if you have somebody on your team that's really fast, you can feel it when you switch on to somebody who's not as fast. Like, you can definitely tell the difference in the players' skills as far as speed, their ability to score goals, their ability to defend. And so you play with somebody and be like, man, I thought they would be better at this, but you go look at their stats, and it's like one of their lower stats, and it's like, oh, okay, so that actually makes sense. So FIFA, I think, did a really good job. And like I said, I'm not a big FIFA head. So prior to the women's league being put in it, I do not. I'm not nowhere near expert in this game and how it's changed over the years, but I've definitely enjoyed playing with the women's teams in the women's league mode. And so it's definitely, I feel like even as a beginner, like you can still have fun and you can learn a few things from playing the game. And like I said, they have all the celebrations, the animations, and everything in here. So it's very, very fun to watch. And all their players have multiple celebrations that they've done in real life. So it's been pretty cool. It definitely was a lot of fun to like play these games and learn these games and learn even more players than I knew before. Because when you play the game, you end up controlling a lot of different players. So you gotta learn the offense, the defense, the goalie. And so it was definitely like a fun yet learning experience at the same time. But I definitely thoroughly enjoyed the presentation in FIFA for the women's game. So I definitely tried to showcase the many ways you can play, if there were multiple ways that you can play the game. That was another one of her celebrations. And I do know that they've like been updating, like when the league have introduced new jerseys, like they put those in the game. So a lot of the new jerseys that have come out, they're also in the game as well. So they definitely did a really good job on the presentation. But that is hockey and that is soccer. Now we'll move on to the WNBA and 2K. Now, the WNBA has definitely been having a more dedicated mode to the WNBA. The first 2K that WNBA mode appeared was 2K20. And I don't have footage from 2K20 because I wasn't streaming at the time, but it was 2K20. It was a very basic and very generic and quite honestly not very fun to play. All you could do was play a season repeatedly over and over and over. There was no story, there was no celebrations. Like it was like literally the bare minimum in 2K20. But all that changed 2K21 when the PS5 and Xbox Series S and X dropped. They completely revamped the mode for the better consoles. So there was definitely a lot more to do. And also, the big difference between 2K and NHL and FIFA, with that start in 2K21, each year they've had a cover dedicated to a WNBA player. And so I will show you a couple of those now. Because I, of course, am a collector of all things WNBA. Actually, I lied. 2K22 was the first one. I don't know why I say 2K21. 2K22 was the first WNBA cover. But the revamp of the mode definitely began in 2K21. And the first cover was Candace Parker, which is why I'm rocking my Candace Parker jersey right now. Candace got the first official WNBA 2K cover in 2K22. 2K23, two best friends, Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird. They shared the cover in 2K23. 2K24, we had Sabrina Ionescu on the cover. And of course, the most current one, 2K25, is Asia Wilson. And the year 25 was a lot of Asia Wilson between the game, her winning, her line, A1 line starting, the shoes, the merch. So 25 has definitely been a big year for Asia Wilson. But that is 4 covers for WNBA, specifically to that player, not shared with an NBA player. There are a couple versions of a shared copy, but they have been having a WNBA specific edition of 2K. So it's definitely been fun collecting them. I've also, every year that they've had one, I've done a giveaway of this copy. So over the last 4 years, I've done a giveaway of physical 2K copies with the WNBA player on it. Each year, I've done more copies. 2K25, I think I was able to, I think I gave away a total of like 8 copies of 2K25. But we're gonna watch, let's see, because I have a lot of 2K videos for the W. A lot. There we go. That's 2K24. Where's my 2K25? What's in this one? Nope, that's the jersey collection. I don't want that one. Review this. That's the online league. We'll watch the 2K24 because 2K24 is very similar to 2K25. But as you can see in 2K, there's a specific WNBA mode. You have the W, which you can play a full season with any team. You can just play playoffs. They also have quick play, where you can do head-to-head matchups, where you can invite people and you guys can actually play against each other with the WNBA teams. They also have WNBA online mode, which is 3v3 online, completely separate from the traditional park or anything like that in 2K. So they have their own quote-unquote park. You create a player, so that's the first thing you do. You can create a player that you're going to start through the season. The last 2 years, there's been 2 paths you can choose from, which you either start at 75 overall or you start at 85 overall. Now the player build isn't as in depth as like the 2K player build, so it's more confined to keep, I guess, specific build types happening, but it's there and you can create all positions, any number of players. You pick your team that you want to play for. And then you kind of go from there. Now the career can get stale after a while because it's a very tiny story. Like, it's not a full-on story like the regular mode of 2K. Like, you get interviews after the game and you get to practice with the team, but there's really like no stuff in between that you get to participate in like you do on the men's side. So it can get stale really fast, and you can go through seasons pretty fast as well. You can pick how long you want your season to be, how long you want the games to be. And so initially, like, it'll be fun, but it can get stale really fast just because there isn't really a story that's developed for you to go through to kind of make the season worthwhile. Of course, as you play, you unlock clothes and shoes and gear for your player. So the one really good thing about it is you don't have to worry about spending VC in the W mode. On the men's side, you have to use VC for everything. On the women's side, you literally, if you play, you will earn everything, and you won't have to spend any VC or any money to like make your player better or to dress your player or to do any of that. So that is one of the big bonuses of the W mode. Is it's not based on VC. You get VC from playing in the mode, which I generally just accumulate that VC and use it on the men's side, since I don't have to worry about spending it on the women's side. So that is one nice bonus. But as you can see on this builder, depending on the player type you pick, the attributes are already set at a certain number. Whereas at the builder on the men's side, you can change all these attributes even after you pick a build, and then that kind of changes your name, but you can change and edit things. Whereas on the women's side, you can't edit. Like, once you pick a build, like, those are the attributes your player will get, those are the badges your player will get. So that's why I said on the women's side, the builds are definitely more restrictive. Hopefully over the next couple 2Ks that will change. I can't say that it will. I'm hoping that it will change, but we all know how that goes sometimes. So we'll just have to stay tuned and see if they make any of those changes. But that is kind of the build process. Then it shows you the badges. Oh, they go to, yeah, so you're either a prospect or you're an undiscovered gem, and it just changes your rating. But you don't get to like do like a pre-draft game or a college game or anything like that. So it kind of feels like it was pointless to kind of pick either one of those, because it didn't really change your trajectory or the games you were going to be playing and whatever. So, but yeah, that is kind of the process of building a player. And then I'll show you guys what the 3v3 mode looks like. Ooh, put on my legs. Actually, I'll show you guys, because you can do, the last couple years I've done an online draft league where everybody picks a team, they draft their players, and we all play each other and see who comes out on top. And this was one of them. And it was fun because I had just about everybody that was in it was kind of in a party, and we were making our picks and, you know, having a good time and getting mad if somebody took somebody we wanted. But it gave us a different, like, way to play the game at the same time. Like, it wasn't the normal everything else. Literally everybody built their own team from the players in the pool, and then we played each other. We played regular season games, we played the playoffs, and then found out who was going to win the championship at the end. And so it was just another way to learn players, learn the game, and just enjoy the game, playing with WNBA players. So the online draft was definitely a lot of fun. Alright. Then we got, that is 3v3. 3v3. Okay, so this was the original 3v3 mode. The first 3v3 mode was actually indoors, and you had fans, just like if you were in a basketball arena. Full court 3v3. This is whatever player you built and you worked on, and in this mode, this is where their attributes and their badges will come into play. And so, just depending on your player type. But like I said, it can get repetitive and eventually stale, because like I said, it just feels like the same thing over and over. And they don't have, as of right now, there's no 5v5 mode with your my players, just the 3v3. And then I pull up one for 2K25. It's a 2K25. It took us outside in the jungle. I don't know why, but they did. But this was the first portrayal of 3v3 online. It was indoors with fans, and every once in a while they would change the court. That's 23. That's weird. I don't have. I must not create a category for my 2K25. Interesting. Let's see. There we go. I think I know who this is. I just want you guys to see like what the park looks like. But yeah, so that's the park in 2K25. You're literally out in the jungle. You can hear the birds, you can hear the bugs, you can hear everything. So it's a little bit weird. Like, there's no fans. You're just literally out in the woods playing basketball. I don't know why. But that's 2K25 3v3 online. So that is most of the games that have the women's leagues in it that I know of. I'll have to look into other sports. I do believe that the women's league is also in the FC soccer game, but I don't play that one, so I have no idea. But if I can find some clips, I'll just add it to the video edit. I do think that the women's league is also in the FC soccer game along with FIFA. And then years and years ago, the W and female players were in NBA Live. And so Live had it where you could actually play with your female players like out in the city, out in the park. So we'll see if 2K eventually does that. It seems like things are going to go that way, but I never feel 100% certain when it comes to 2K or what they're going to do with like the W and women's players and where they can go in the game. Because as of right now, they're definitely confined to the W mode. Like, your female player can't go in the city, can't play in the rec, can't play in the park, can't play in the theater. Will that change eventually? Only time will tell. So we just have to wait and see, I guess. Just have to wait and see. But it is definitely been great as a sports fan, as a women's sports fan, to see these players in games and them be playable, and that I could play as my favorite players, dress as my favorite players, and have fun on the game. Because growing up, I didn't play a lot of games because I felt like there was no point. Like, there usually wasn't any female characters or female players, so I didn't really see the point. So that definitely, I think, would have changed things for me had female players been in 2K or been in a soccer game. Like, I probably would have played games a little bit as a kid. But since they weren't really represented in video games, like, I never really had any interest in it. But over the last few years, like, I've definitely had a lot of fun playing as players, whether it's basketball, soccer, or hockey. Like, I've had a lot of fun playing these games as some of my favorite women's athletes. So we'll see what other games follow suit. I will try to get some more different type of sports, and see what I can throw in there. I will say I did try the tennis game. I'm going to try to do a video for it, but the tennis game was very, very difficult for me to play. Like, the controls did not feel great at all. So I may have to try and, like, play and record one for a later video, because I was trying, and then some of the players just looked so weird. It was really hard for me to play the tennis, even though, like, all the top women tennis players are in it. Like, it was definitely a weird feel playing it, and then, like, seeing some of the people and some of the movements. So I'll try that again later. But I'll look into some other sports as well and see if they pop up any games. But for now, those are the biggest ones that have been continuously adding portions to the women's part of the game into their video game. So I'm excited to see where all these franchises go with their modes, whether it's FIFA, NHL, or 2K, seeing the progression. And since I have videos from all the other ones, I'm definitely going to be able to, like, go back and visually see the differences between what they've put into the mode. But I am definitely one that is happy that they've put the modes in the game. But I'm definitely hoping and looking forward to them putting just a little more effort into making the modes good, and enjoyable for a lot of people, and less repetitive, and more fun. Because I'm definitely excited to be able to play with women athletes, professional athletes, in a video game. Learn their moves, learn their skill set, learn new players, and just have a good time. So we'll see kind of how they develop over the next few years for all these different franchises, and we'll try to keep tabs on any additions and updates to any of the modes, and hopefully it just gets better from here. But that is women's professional sports and video games as of right now in the year 2025. This is where we are. So hopefully in a year or two, I'll be talking a whole different tune about how much even better it is. So, but that is that. But that's why I was wearing the Candace Parker jersey, because she's the first one to have the 2K cover. So it only felt right to have her jersey on, since she was the first one to get the solo WNBA cover. And now that we've had 4 different covers, we'll see how long that trend continues as well. So still a lot of questions, but I'm super happy that the women's league teams are in the games. Super happy that they're in the games. But we'll see where we go from here. Alright. Where is my book? There we go. Alright. Next up, we will continue with the book of the month, which of course is Uncommon Favor, Dawn Staley. We got another excerpt today. Dun, dun, dun. Nope, that's not it. Alright, and this excerpt is from where she was talking about her fight and battle for equal pay in the college ranks as a coach. Especially when you are a part of a winning program and you've built a winning program, kind of fighting for what you're worth. And she was talking about how before it began, she wasn't sure that she was going to ask for what she asked for. But one of the things she brought up that I found important, she said, this is in reference to, players and athletes and other coaches. I can't ask them to stand up for themselves if I'm sitting down. I can't encourage them to use their voice to affect change if I'm willing to whisper. And to me, that speaks volumes of her wanting to be an example through vocally, through action, and just leading by example. Women's sports has been fighting for more funding, equal opportunity, endorsements, pay, whatever you name it, equal facilities, especially when it comes to the NCAA tournament. And she's talking about, I can't ask my players to fight for what they deserve if I'm just going to sit and not fight for what I deserve, or speak on what other coaches as a whole deserve and what their players deserve. And so not sitting by idly and then nudging other people to stand up. So she's like, I gotta be standing up with them, and if they're shouting from the rooftops, I gotta be shouting from the rooftops with them. I can't be back and going, yeah, and they up front screaming at the top of their lungs, and she's like, I can't be back here chilling. I gotta be up front with them. And I think that is a huge reason why her program has gotten to the place that it's gotten to, because she leads by example, and she stands firm in what she believes in, what they are trying to achieve, and what needs to be done to achieve certain things. And so that's my excerpt for now is, you can't ask people to, stand up or fight for something when you're not even willing to do it. And so that's why it's also a huge decision in knowing what you want to be standing up for, so that you can do it firmly, without question, without doubt, even though it's going to be hard. It's something you truly believe in, so you're going to stand firm in it, and you're going to speak on it, and you're going to try to make some stuff happen. So that's the excerpt from the book of the month, Uncommon Favor, Dawn Staley. Telling you, add it to your library. She's got a lot of great stuff in there, just as a human being, growing over her life lessons, and how she's dealt with hardships or things not going the way she wanted them to go, but they actually going where they needed to be going. So it's definitely a great read, a lot of life lessons. So it's definitely a great book to add to the library. But yes, Uncommon Favor by Dawn Staley. Book of the month for June. Great read. Definitely recommend to anybody. I know it's definitely sold out on a lot of places, so hopefully you can still find it right now. It's on audiobook too. Alright, mini break before we close this out. Sacred, you probably still not gonna play. Even if they do get 5v5. I'm just saying. I can see you still not playing. I don't want to hear that no 3 times a week. You still gonna be on your normal schedule once a year. What's up, BFK? Listen, we gonna see. I don't know. I don't, like I said, I manage my expectations when it comes to 2K. I don't believe nothing until the game comes out and I actually see it in the game. I don't care who said what, who claimed they saw what, or who got inside information. I'm not believing nothing until the game comes out and I see it in the game. That's where I'm at. But the biggest thing I'm gonna see, I realize that if they do add a 5v5 or they let the women's players play in the park or the rec, that means the bills are gonna have to be paid for through VC. There's gonna be no more free bills in the W. They're not gonna be able to sustain that because they're gonna have to change the bill system for the players to be able to play in the rec or the park. So at that point, you're gonna have to use VC to build your player. Like, because the build system right now, the way it's set up, is the main reason you don't have to worry about using VC on your build. So if they overhaul the build system, I can see it now. Both builds are going to cost VC. Your male player and your female player is going to cost VC. So, I mean, you're going to have to lose something to gain something. I can already see it. But I'm still not 100% certain that 2K is willing to do that. Alright. In closing, we recapped week 5 of the WNBA. And we will go over the standings one more time. After 5 weeks, Minnesota is still in the number 1 spot, record 11-1. New York, 2 spot, 10-2. Phoenix, 3rd spot, 10-4. Atlanta, 4th spot, 8-4. Seattle in the 5th spot, 7-5. Golden State in the 6th spot, 6-6. Indiana in the 7th spot, 6-6. 8th spot is the Las Vegas Aces at 5-6. 9th spot, Washington Mystics at 5-7. 10th spot, LA Sparks, 4-9. 11th spot, Chicago, 3-8. 12th spot, Connecticut, 2-10. 13th spot, Dallas at 2-11. So that is the current standings after 6 weeks. All-Star voting is still going on. So whether you go to the WNBA website or you have the WNBA app, you can vote your All-Stars for July. They will be playing in Indiana. So I fully expect that probably 2 or 3 Indiana players will end up on the All-Star team just because they are in Indiana. So we'll see. And I said we got a lot of games on Sunday. So Sunday would definitely be a good day to just relax and enjoy some great basketball. Also, I forgot to mention earlier, the Women's Football League, their championship is Saturday. If I can get it up, I'm definitely probably going to stream it in my Discord. But the championship for the Women's Tackle Football League is this Saturday. So I might try to get that up for others to watch. We'll see. I'll be working on it. But and we talked about leagues and video games. So as of right now, we got the Women's Hockey League is in NHL 25. The Women's Soccer League is in FIFA. I also think it's in the FC soccer game. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I think they're in the FC soccer game too. And then in 2K, there is the WNBA mode as well. We have lots of videos. I will link my personal YouTube because I have tons of videos because I've been playing all of those sports on the games. So I will link my YouTube. So if you want to see how the gameplay is, you can definitely check it out. We talked about the book of the month, Uncommon Favorite, Don Staley. Definitely catch a copy if you can. It's a great read. But that is the update for week 12. So, as always, the goal of Welcome Home and Lady Blue Flames is to educate, appreciate, promote, and support women's sports. The goal of this channel is to educate, appreciate, promote, and support women's sports. Welcome home.